Do you like beats? Do you like boom and bass? Well, you're in luck, friend. Right here. We've got plenty of that. Dubstep for all sizes. Purple dubstep, green dubstep, white dubstep, red dubstep, dubstep in all flavors. Dubstep for the Christmas season, dubstep for Hanukkah, dubstep for Ramadan. That's right, we've got it all. Come on down, Smog. We can't be beat.
We are here with Drew Best, the owner of SmogL.A. He has kindly accepted to be with us today as a special guest for Xolair. Hi, Drew.
How you doing?
Thank you for being here with us.
Yeah, welcome.
Okay, tell us all about Smog so that, people can understand what
Sure.
it's about.
Smog is an all dubstep event here in Los Angeles. Dubstep is a form of music that started out in South London. That was sort of an offshoot of garage music, which was kind of this like multi-generation of sounds that sort of came together and became like UK's urban sort of dance music. And through all these different things that happened, they decided to create a form of garage called dubstep, and it was more based on slower pacing beats and bass. And these events started happening in London, and then people in New York and San Francisco kind of caught on. And then in LA, there wasn't really anywhere to go for this type of music. So a friend of mine turned me on to it and got me really into it. And he and I started Smog, which was to be the first all dubstep event in LA. And we started out as something sort of like as an experiment. We weren't really sure what was going to happen. It was free, it was kind of in downtown LA, and a lot of people came out, about 100, 150 people came. And at that time, I look at like photographs, and there was a lot of people I didn't know that were there in the crowd, but now looking at those pictures again, I'm like, that's that guy, that's this guy, that's that person, and they're all sort of like all of the different figures now in the LA dubstep scene, but at the time we didn't really know each other.
But do you think that public has varied until now?
What's that?
Has the public varied, grown?
Yeah, oh, absolutely. Tons.
A lot of people.
I mean, really, when Smog started, I was racking my brain. Like, I had one or two friends that were dubstep DJs, and another friend that was kind of collecting it, another guy we knew about in LA that had sort of been doing it. But I was racking my brain, like, where am I going to find enough DJs to do an all dubstep event? And now that's changed. There are DJs, producers, sound systems, record labels, MCs,
everybody's
venues.
lining up.
There's just all kinds of new people kind of coming into it, and they're dedicating their time saying, I am a dubstep person, I'm a dubstep, party goer, I'm a dubstep DJ, I go to dubstep events. So yeah, a lot has changed.
All the events are just wonderful. People just want to go back always.
Yeah. Yeah.
And who were the first people that, in those first shows, all dubstep shows, who came all the way to the United States to play?
Well, first we kind of picked from San Francisco. San Francisco had sort of a healthy dubstep scene as far as producers and DJs go. And from there, we started bringing people from like New York. And the first person from the UK that we brought over was a guy by the name of Cyrus. And he had someone that we'd met on the internet chat rooms, on Sub FM, where he held a radio station. He had a radio show that he did on there. And we became big fans of his music, and we decided, let's bring him out. And he was excited. He'd never really been in the United States before, so it was kind of cool. We had him come out, and he played for us, and the show was good, it was decent, but it was still kind of, dubstep was sort of new, so it wasn't like a huge event, but it was sort of like the first person to kind of come over, and he went back to London and told people that he knew about over there that, hey, you should meet these guys in LA, they're throwing these really good parties. So little by little we started just introducing more and more people from the UK, and now we've had quite a few British people kind of come over and play for us now. And they're starting to say that like our events are as good, or in other ways like they enjoy them better than the events that they go to, often in London, like the big nights. So that's been a positive, big positive thing. It's really cool.
Well, I hope everybody gets enough information about what Smog is. Do you want to leave a contact for booking and, you know, artists maybe wanting to get in touch?
Yeah, we have our website. It's www.SmogL.A, SmogL.A.com, and there's all of our information up there. You can see sort of our past events and our contact information. I get a lot of demos because this year we started a record label and we've been pressing vinyl, so I get a lot of producers that are interested, and I usually listen to everything, and I usually give people pretty decent feedback about whether I like it or what they can do to kind of improve on it.
Well, that's wonderful.
I'm strict.
You actually listen to it.
Yeah, I try most of the time. Sometimes after like a club night, I get like 8 or 9 CDs, and I throw them in the car and kind of listen to them. And if I happen to run into that person again, I say, yeah, I heard your CD, it was good, or there's a couple things, you know, you should try doing differently. But I'm kind of a critic. I'm kind of strict, but I'm not.
Well, that's good, you know.
I'm not mean.
You're not mean.
Yeah.
Okay, you were talking to us about Cyrus, but within our knowledge, this lady, Marianne Hobbs, was the first DJ to air what is currently known as dubstep in the UK on a massive communication medium such as the BBC.
Yeah.
How did it make it into the United States?
Well, there was a website called dubplate.net that was popular, and there were people that were posting like garage tracks on there, and there was a couple Americans like Dave Q, who does Dub War in New York, and a couple guys in San Francisco that were kind of tuned into that whole scene, and there was message boards that sort of started, and so those were some of the first people in America, and there was a tour that happened that Reflex Records did. That was Aphex Twin's label, and they had a compilation they did called Grime, and they had DJs like Mark I and Plastician kind of come through the United States, and they did these sort of tours. And at the time, no one really knew what grime music was or what dubstep music was, or people weren't really even calling it dubstep too much at that time. But Hatcho was one of the first people to play in New York and Baltimore. I know Joe Nice was one of the first DJs in the United States to be the first. But so there was always little seeds planted, but they were like
turned into a network.
Well, it was only like a handful of people, and Marianne Hobbs did her show, Dubstep Wars, and I had a friend of mine who had been collecting dubstep records, and he'd been kind of playing them to me, and I'd be like, yeah, they're kind of cool. But when they had that recording done, he sent it to me, and it was like this whole complete package. Like all these different DJs, all these different people interviewed, talking to them about how the music influenced and inspired them, or what their events are like. And it painted a picture for me that was like, okay, now I really get it. And I know a lot of other people feel the same way. So yeah, Marianne Hobbs had like a big influence on the US and a lot of other scenes, because people really, unless you were going to clubs in London, you weren't going to hear that music anywhere else. But Marianne Hobbs has a lot of internet fans and fan base, and that show was heavily traded, heavily downloaded, and yeah, it sparked a lot for us.
Yeah, basically the seed was internet to start with.